those of you interested, like I said before, we do have some room up in the balcony. If you'd like to go up there and have a seat, there's plenty of seating up there. It looks like from this angle anyway. Good evening. It looks like we have quite the number of people here. A lot of people in the balcony, or a significant number. But like I said, if you guys want to, some of the people that maybe are sitting on the sides or wherever, if you want to go up in the balcony, that's fine. You would exit out here and to the right or to the left, and there's a door out there for that. But welcome to Freshman Night Out for the class of 2025. I'm sure that is a milestone for both your student and for you as a parent. Sometimes it is very, very difficult. It is definitely a rite of passage that we have, and I hope that you are excited about it. I know you're probably a little bit nervous too, especially if this is your first high school student, but we aim to take care of your student, and we want to thank you for choosing us. I mentioned this earlier in the spring, that we live in a very competitive educational environment where we have some high quality schools in the surrounding areas. And you could have chosen any number of those, but you decided to choose us, and I want to thank you for that. And that we are going to we're going to take care of your kid. There's going to be probably a lot, and I don't want to sugarcoat that. There's going to be a lot of confusion on the first day of school for many, many reasons. Number one is that we have potentially 800 kids, well, not 800, well, perhaps 800 kids that might not have stepped in the building that much last year, much less what we would call a regular school day. If that's going to end up being regular or not, we don't know, but there's going to be a lot. So we're going to be patient with students, definitely as far as finding classes, getting your locker. I know there were some locker issues, although I would think that sometimes that's an operating error. That's a person that's the operator's error there, because they haven't had to open a locker. Didn't have lockers last year. So we will deal with that. So we want you to be patient with us, and we try to send out, every now and then we'll send out a lot of directions and things like that, but we've kind of gotten away from that because we know that the first couple of days is chaotic anyway, and we have to change plans, and go a different way. And so sometimes we just end up on the first couple of days just directing traffic. And that's what it is that we do. You want to remind your student that they'll need to report to homeroom first. That should be on their schedule. Their homeroom will not change. There might be an issue leading up to the last couple of days where we have to change a student's schedule. It could be for a variety of reasons. Could be a teacher issue. Could be lots of things. In that homeroom, they will get their most updated schedule. We will try our best not to completely change any one schedule around, but there could be a change or two, and that's why we want them to report to homeroom. They will not get their Chromebook in their homeroom. They will get their Chromebook in the first period. So we'll have them report to homeroom to start the day, get that schedule, and then report to their first period for their Chromebook. And all seniors and who had iPads last year, all freshmen and all new students will receive that. Okay? I do want to point out, just put a plug in for this, it's a great way to start the year, the Turkey Bowl. For those of you that are graduates of here, we have it much earlier in the year than what we used to have because we want the fall athletes to be able to participate in this. So that is Friday night, starting at 7 o'clock, and weather permitting, of course. If it's too hot, we might have to delay it, but please come to that. That is a fundraiser for our junior class. Our junior class raises money there for prom. So we are very excited about that. Always a great way to start the year. But you don't have, like maybe some of you all remember, we don't have a bunch of girls screaming and yelling, running through the hallways with face paint on and stuff like that that scare the heck out of the freshmen. We've kind of gotten away from that for very good reasons. Okay, but anyway, the open house, the general meeting we'll have at 6 o'clock. That'll be a good chance for you to meet your students' teachers. And we think all schedule changes, all of that stuff should be done by that time. So that is August 19th. We will start in here at 6 o'clock, and I'll talk about various things there to get you going. We'll plug our PTO and all of that. And also, this is just an addition. The health department will be offering vaccines that day, providing vaccinations throughout the evening. More information will be on that a little bit later. Want to introduce a few people, and then I actually have, and to be honest, we all wore these t-shirts today. We do clean up a little bit better than this on a daily basis, but we decided to show a little unity here, a little support of our class of 2025, and so that's why you will see us in t-shirts today. But we do dress up better, especially Mr. Sequera. He's right over here. He is our athletic director. He is in charge of student activities, and so physicals and any questions about eligibility and things like that will go to him. I have Miss Jody Johnson down here. She is in charge of staff development, as well as she deals with discipline for many of our female students. And then Dr. Velker right here, he deals with discipline as well. A lot of that, he deals with special education in a variety of topics, just like all of the administrators, right? All right, and then some of these actual people will not be in here, but there's people you need to know about. You've got Miss Davis. She's the freshman counselor. She's the one running the activities in the gym. So she is in charge of most freshmen. And then we have Miss Mayfield. She's our special ed facilitator. Many of your students might remember her from Greenville. She was there several years ago. And then we have Officer Woodruff. He's over here. I saw him. Yes. He's our SRO. Is this your fifth year? Fourth year? Fourth year. Okay, fourth year here. We've had an SRO in the building since probably the late 90s. It's been a great relationship with the local police department. His office is right underneath the steps, a little Harry Potter office there, right underneath that. So he is a very valuable part of our school community. And then Miss Eisner, she was out and about. I think she's helping in the other area there. She is the counselor in charge of special education and 504 plans. Groups in attendance. We have quite a few groups in attendance. Hopefully you were able to see. I don't know if I got all of them on there, but they are a lot of extracurricular, co-curricular activities, student-generated clubs, all of that. And we're very proud of the community service that a lot of our clubs provide to the community. I know performing arts represented well here tonight. But hopefully you had some time to maybe go by and ask some questions from these particular people. And so you'll always have a chance to get involved in these as the year goes on. And I urge you to urge your student to get involved in the school community and not just be a 7:40 to 2:30 student here at FC. I do want to put in just one plug for Dance Marathon. That has been our largest community service group for the past couple of years. We were able to continue it even through the pandemic year. It remains to be seen if we're going to actually have a dance marathon this year, but we will still have the organization and we will still be planning and doing some various fundraising throughout the actual year. But we do not have a date for this year yet, and we might pause a year, put things on pause, still raise money for it in various ways, but not have the actual dance marathon itself. But it is still a very strong group, and we're still happy about that. Real quick, I do want to have Miss Amy Schindler come up and talk real quick. She is our outgoing PTO president. This is I kind of jokingly refer to them as the Bad Moms Club. It's meant all in fun, right? She's going to talk a little bit about getting involved in PTO.
I mean, I have earned myself at least a parking spot here for sure. So like you said, I just want to welcome each and every one of you here. This is a fantastic school, and on the behalf of the PTO, we want to welcome you. We want you to get involved. There's so many different ways to be able to do that. And a lot of people, I'm going to kind of take the stigma off, always say, well, I'm not a stay-at-home mom, so I can't participate in PTO. None of us are stay-at-home moms, and we can find a place, whether it's to be able to come and help at one activity, or if it's to come in to help on certain different things that we do for staff or for students. There's a lot of different ways that you can get plugged in or donate things that we need for those events. So we're really excited to be able to meet new parents and get you drawn in. We can answer a lot of questions. We have a lot of resources. But the biggest thing that I really want to share with you tonight, we have a brand new website that you actually can register so that we can communicate with you. So that way when there's a big event coming up, so let's just say it might be a homecoming dance, we can let you know that the tickets are on sale, because sometimes we might be here for 2 weeks and on the last day the kids go, oh, today's the last day I can get a ticket? Yes. So this will be a great way for you to be able to know some of those things that we're looking for, that we need help with. We also want you to check out our PTO Facebook page. We will have the link where you can register for that. Or if you're not on social media, we want to invite you to come out to the table tonight. So if you didn't have a chance to do that, a lot of our PTO is out there. They can answer questions, but there's a letter that you can take home that also has that link and further information about different things that you can help and volunteer with. We're also kicking off a capital campaign to help us with our budget this year and to be able to do all the fun events that we have planned for our staff and for your students and for families. So it takes a village, and we really do have a place for everyone here. So I just want to say, come by, say hi, let us meet you, answer any questions. And while I am here, I'm going to go ahead and put a shameless plug in for my club, which is the Best Buddies Club. I have 2 seniors going out this year. I have a special needs student and a regular student. And we started this club kind of like it's like big brother, big sister, but it's to pair our special needs students with mentor students in the school, and we've had excellent reception of it. We had 80 students the first year and 100 students last year, and we're really excited about being able to expand. So if you're looking to meet new people or just have genuine fun, this is a great club, and if you want more information, they're also out there in the spine and ready to greet you. So thank you.
Thank you, Amy. And of course, we're making, yeah, sure, go ahead. And also, just to say, it's not only moms, dads can come too, and I would really appreciate it because we're about the only, Mr. Square and I and Dr. Bell, about the only males in there. That would have been, I would have looked forward to that probably 25, 30 years ago, but now it's terrifying. So please, if you'd like to come to a meeting, please do that. So anyway, and Best Buddies, it's a good, great program, fledgling program. It also kind of works in conjunction with Unified Track and Unified Football, which we would answer questions on a little bit later. But PTO does a lot of great things, a lot of kind of random acts of kindness for kids. Every student benefits from what our PTO does. And then this one right here, I thought I'd go ahead and just get this out of the way. This is a very similar, this is what it is. I mean, I cut it a little bit short, but our COVID protocols, and by the way, I'll post this whole presentation on the website tomorrow, as well as a link to this presentation that I'm giving here. But actually, that's our COVID protocol that we're going from, that we worked in conjunction with the local health department. And of course, you're going to say, well, will it be that way all year? I don't know. I do not know. So it's anybody's guess. I know other districts, one specifically, Jefferson County has gone to a mask mandate. I don't know. I don't know what we'll do. So I can't speak to that at this point because I don't have really a whole lot of information. Rest assured that we're not going to separate kids based on whether they've been vaccinated or not, whether they're wearing a mask or not. We're not going to do that in a classroom. We are going to be safe. We are going to be safe in the classroom, we feel, and appropriate in every way. So those are what our mandates or our directives are at this point. Could they change? They could. They could. And so I just can't speak to what the future holds for that. But then tonight's objectives, and I know I'm going to throw a lot of stuff at you, but tonight's objectives, number one, we want to build enthusiasm. We want you to be excited about your student coming to school here at Floyd Central High School and becoming a Highlander. That's one. And hopefully they're doing that with the bouncy houses and all the games and the tree golf and everything like that in the gym. And then the lessen the anxiety. I know the schedules are pretty much out there. You kind of know what to expect. Hopefully the kids have walked around the building a little bit, made a mental model of what it looks like. I know it's difficult to sort of navigate the hallways over there, but hopefully they've become familiar with it enough to where they feel somewhat confident getting from class to class. And that seems to be the biggest anxiety that they have. And then the last thing is to inform. We want to inform you on what it is to expect, give you a better idea of the sort of things that you would expect here at FC. Okay. And then a culture. Real quick, talk about the culture. What I wanted to do, and I've been using this slide in about every presentation that I make to parents, to students, and to teachers to talk about the culture. I just didn't come up with this stuff out of thin air. I didn't just make it up over the summer while I was sitting in that office by myself with nobody in the building. These are things that have been done collaboratively the last couple of years that we are doing. So I want to point out a few things, mainly the stuff that are going to pertain to students. So this will show you what it is that is important to us. All right? Now, the first, at any high school, Numbers are going to be important. Results are going to be important. So things like AP scores, things like the SAT, and you'll notice I don't have a number there yet because we don't know what the cut score is for the SAT. Your student will take the SAT when they're a junior, and that will be one way they can qualify that third, we call it the third bucket of the competency there by the time for them to graduate. That's only one. There are several different ways to do it. They can go to Prosser, they can do a variety of things for that, but every junior, nearly every junior, will take that test. And so we have to pay attention to it. All right, graduation rate should be at 96.5. That should be fairly easy to hit. We're a little bit lower right now. We're going to get there. I feel like by October 1st, we still have some seniors that need to finish up, but we're confident that we can get them there. And then we want our different types of diplomas to be on the upper rigorous side there. The Core 40 and up. Core 40 is pretty much our default diploma. Yes, there is a minimum diploma that is lower than that has less math and less science. But we want everybody, we want almost everybody there. We want 90% and up. And we want that to be equal. We want our subgroups, and by subgroups I mean minority, I mean free and reduced lunch, and special education, to be similar to what the general population is. And right now it is. I won't bore you with a bunch of numbers. And right now our SEL, that's social emotional learning, we take an SEL survey every year. Students took it last year, and actually staff does too. And we want that what we call trending left. Okay, so for example, it asks one of these questions that says, hey, students at Floyd Central respect one another. Okay, students at Floyd, that's just one of the questions. That was up. It was higher this year, or higher this past year, than it was in years past. And so it goes over to the highly agree, or strongly agree, to the just simply agree, versus the strongly disagree. So that's what we want. We want it going to that left side there. And we're going to talk about that in building committee to see which questions we really want to focus on to get their opinion on those sorts of things. All right. These things right here, learning, these are adjectives that we're going to expect of our staff. Okay, that's all on the PLC process, which stands for the Professional Learning Community, which is a big buzzword now, and it has a lot of research to back up the PLC model. The PLC model builds student performance and increases student performance. Okay, and then right here, the wanting to learn. Okay, I got the hashtag WTL. Okay, now I'm an IU football fan for many reasons. If any of you don't know anything about me personally, you'll know why. I won't get into that right now. But I really like Tom Allen. Tom Allen, he came up with this thing that I think has been very helpful for his group and he's probably one of the hottest coaches in the nation. LEO, love each other. That's it. Love each other. Okay? So I thought, could we come up with something like that? Can I copy something off Tom Allen? This is what I'm doing. Okay, WTL, want to learn. That's what we want. So our assumption is when kids come into the building and they sit in your classroom that they want to learn. Now that changes things for maybe how we were educated, possibly, where you didn't automatically assume that of every kid. And I do truly believe that every student wants to do well in school. Every student wants to succeed. They're not going to say it to you every day. I'm ready to learn, Dr. They're not going to say that. Okay? But I really do deep down that they're going to do that. And if they're displaying some behavior that's not showing that or not compatible with that, then I think that's abnormal and we need to try to work through that. That there's a way we need to work through that. So that's the assumption that our teachers need to have, is that every student comes into your classroom wanting to learn. I think that really influences your outlook on your class and how it is that you treat them. The last thing here is the Highlander Pledge. That is our student expectation. All right, now the Highlander Pledge, this was something that we started, we actually put in place last year. This is in every single classroom, and this was a collaborative effort on a variety of clubs that we have had in the building to come up with something like that. All right, and probably the most important line in there is the very first one. Every person is entitled to dignity and respect. That is an expectation in our building. Does it happen every time? No, it does not. We know out in our society today there's a lot of anger, a lot of polarization, all right? And the idea that, I guess they call it in psychology, the fundamental attribution error, the idea that I'm going to assume or I know that this person hates me, therefore it makes it okay for me to hate them. That should not be part of our mindset in this school. Okay, so every student, and we had up there before, we started off with, every person despite race, religion, intellectual ability, physical appearance, we just had a list of them. We're just like, well, why don't we just put every person? Every person is or deserves that. So that's really what we want as far as our staff, and we'll have our staff refer to that quite often. It's a little bit hokey, okay, but I'll deal with it as long as they remember, and it is something that they abide by, or the expectation that they can reach. That's what we'll do. So we're excited about that. So that pretty much is what we expect at FC. That is our vision. That's what we want to do. All right, and then right here, what I'm going to do, that is pretty much the overall philosophy of FC and all of that. Now, Miss Johnson is going to come up and talk about specifics, more specific suggestions for you, as well as Dr. Velker will follow with that, as well as Mr. Sequeira with more specific things.
Thank you. Okay, welcome again to all the parents for the class of 2025. And so the things that I'm going to talk about are things that your student and you probably have questions about, and things that you should expect and things that you should do as a parent. First of all, they're in high school now. So we expect that if they have an issue with a teacher, whether it's about an assignment, a test, a grade, whatever, that they're going to communicate directly with their teacher. So they can email their teacher, they can talk to their teacher after class or before class, and then we have an expectation for the teacher to respond to that student within 24 hours, excluding the weekend and holidays and things like that. So we want the students to directly communicate with the teachers. If the student doesn't get the issue resolved, then obviously parents will get involved, and that's fine. But we ask that you reach out to the teacher first as well. So you email the teacher, or you call the teacher and leave a message and express your concern or your questions. You can also contact the counselors. So if you have a question that you think, well, I don't really want to talk to the teacher about this because of the nature of the issue, feel free to email Mrs. Davis, the freshman counselor, if you have questions. If you feel like you cannot get your situation resolved after you've done all of these steps, then that is when either the counselor or you will contact me, and I will get involved to help you navigate the situation. And so I am sort of your go-between between the teachers and the parents and the students. But again, we want the student first to advocate for themselves, and the first thing I'm going to ask you if you call me is, have you talked to the teacher? So I do want you to communicate with the teacher first. Ask questions of your student. So make sure that you know what's going on with your student. Ask them about their grades, about their teachers, about their activities. Dr. Willman mentioned that we're going to have open house on August 19th and the teachers will be here. We always do it a little later because there are so many schedule changes in high school that if we did it tonight, you might meet teachers that your student isn't going to have. So that's why we delay it a little bit. So you'll meet the teachers, ask about their activities. Again, getting involved. There is something here for everyone. Maybe they're not an athlete, maybe they don't play sports, but we have tons of clubs and organizations and things that they can get involved with. And we know from research that if you get involved in activities, you're going to do better as a student in school. So there's Mrs. Davis's contact information. You can also find this on the website, so you don't necessarily have to write this down now, but there's her extension in her email as well as my extension in my email. You will get daily announcements. This says for Mrs. Moore, but she actually is taking another job, so we will be getting someone else in her spot, but you'll still get daily announcements. And for the first couple days of school, they'll probably come from her because she's going to be here for a little bit longer. And that'll keep you informed about what's going on, activities, and things like that. Dr. Willman will oftentimes send out mass emails to communicate things, so pay attention for those. He's already sent out a few this summer. You can follow us on Twitter, our website. Make sure that your students are joining their Google Classrooms. Teachers will send out those soon. I think I have an incoming freshman, I think she got one yesterday. So teachers are already sending out Google Classroom codes for them to join, and there is a Google Classroom for the class of 2025. So if your student hasn't joined that, they were told at Highland Hills to join this 2025 classroom, and a lot of them have, but if they haven't, make sure that you do that. Again, teachers are expected to call parents if they see a significant change in a student's performance or grade. And then at the end of each quarter, if the student is failing, you can expect phone calls from your teachers as well. Homework. Your students will have homework. Make sure you ask about it. Look over it. They might use their student planner or a planner to keep organized. Now they're going to have, most of the time, 7 classes, and I know they had that in middle school, but it's going to be a little bit different and a little higher expectation, so maybe they weren't necessarily planner users before. They might want to start doing that. Talk to their teachers about homework. Check PowerSchool regularly. This is what we tell parents. So yes, teachers are going to use a lot of Google Classroom, and they'll put assignments in Google Classroom, and they might reflect grades in Google Classroom. But that's not the official platform for you to check grades. You as a parent should be looking at PowerSchool, because as your teachers will hand out a syllabus to the students, there's different grading categories within a student's grade, and so that will be reflected in PowerSchool. And so if you don't already know how to log in, which right now it's not open, but it is supposed to open for parents and students on the first day of school. So if you accessed it last year, you'll be able to access it again. If you forgot how your passwords and things, we can get those for you. But PowerSchool is where you should go for information. If PowerSchool is not being updated, this is one of the things that you might want to email the teacher about, because we do have an expectation that they should be updating their PowerSchool. Weekly is what we say, at the very least bi-weekly. So if you get in there and there's a lot of time without grades, do not hesitate to reach out to the teacher. Interventions. So obviously we want every student to be successful here at Floyd Central, and the freshman year is a huge transition for students into high school. So we have a lot of things that are available. Teachers will be sending, like I said, their syllabus home within the first couple of days of school. Some of them will say, hey, have your parents sign this, but I would of course ask for them. And they'll talk in there about how they're going to offer multiple attempts at mastery and other help outside the school day for students, whether they might stay after school, they might come in early, they might offer retakes on certain things in their classroom, whether that's tests or projects. It's not going to be everything, but they will offer things for certain help. We also have tutoring with our National Honor Society students, so they can contact their counselor, and the counselor can set them up with a tutor if they're struggling in a particular class. And we also have extended learning, which will usually start about the second week of school, and that's Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 2:30 to 4:30, and it is staffed by a Floyd Central teachers, usually 2 of them each day. A couple of dates, and again, you don't have to remember all of these, but midterm progress reports, we don't print those out and send them home, but we do tell teachers, hey, this is the midpoint grade, you should have at least this much stuff in there so parents can get an accurate idea of what the grade is. Then report cards will be issued at the end of the quarter. We only mail report cards home at the end of the year. Other than that, we send them home with the student. So be aware of when the quarter is ending and ask for those report cards. Again, teachers will send home a syllabus with their expectations and policies, a Google Classroom, and I know I'm repeating myself, but these are the important things that I think that you as parents need to know, and how to keep informed about what's going on, and about PowerSchool and Google Classroom as well. All right, expectations for students: bring their Chromebook charged to school every day. There are places in classrooms where they can possibly plug it in at times, but there's obviously not enough for every student in every classroom to plug it in, so we expect that they come with it charged already. And remember that that device belongs to New Albany Floyd County Schools, and it is monitored. So we do get flags on things that they might search or things that they might send out that are not appropriate, and we will talk to them about those things if we get a flag. And they need to check their email daily, because teachers might send emails, whether that's through Google Classroom or through the regular email. And again, we'll send the announcements out that way and other things. In the first few days of school, we get a lot of questions with incoming freshman parents about school supply lists, because we know we used to have 3-page school supply list and you had to go get all the stuff. You don't need that in high school. So first day of school, something to write with, some paper, maybe a folder as they're collecting things throughout the day from their teachers. But each teacher is going to tell your student what they're going to need for their classroom, whether they're going to need a binder, what kind of notebook they might need. So don't go out and buy a whole lot of stuff right now. Buy the minimum. And then those first couple days of school, each teacher will tell them what they need. Grading. How we do grading is it is a running total for the semester. So middle school is different. It started over at the end of each quarter. So they might, get a B the first quarter and then it started over. In high school, it doesn't do that. It starts first day of school and goes all the way to Christmas. Starts in January, we come back, goes all the way to the end of the school year. So even though we do a report card at quarter, that grade is going to continue. Teachers set up categories in their grade book. So certain things are worth more than others. You're going to see assessments that are going to be worth more than homework and things like that. If it is a light class, meaning all 9th grade English classes will have the same categories with the same weights. So it's not, hey, this teacher is weighting this, and this teacher is weighting this. Every algebra teacher will have the same categories and the same weights. So if it's a light class, those categories and weights will be the same, regardless of who your teacher is. There's a common grading scale that is on the website. It'll be in the syllabi, but it's a 90 to 100 grading scale. And PE classes. This is the one class where there is points associated with participation. So obviously, if you don't participate in PE, that's a huge thing. So dressing out and making sure that you're participating, that will impact their grade if they are not doing that. And next, we have Mr. Sequeira with athletics.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. That's a pretty old picture of the football team there. My senior year. Thank you, Dr. Wellman. Yeah. I do remember you being on the team as well. Yeah. Athletic programs. We have 21, not just say varsity sports. The club sports, we also have a lot of those. You see co-ed, bowling, volleyball, and fishing. It's important to understand, and Dr. Wellman mentioned that earlier about our unified track and field and also unified football. So we have a lot of opportunities. Honestly, like Mrs. Johnson made the comment as well, there is something for everybody in this school. So please make sure that you get involved, whether it be performing arts, athletics, ROTC. We have a lot of clubs. As you can see, we have a lot of opportunities for sports. And you're looking at bowling. Bowling's a lot of fun. The kids have a blast. We even have fishing as well. So make sure you get involved in something, but before you can join one of those 21 athletic sports, it's very similar to the middle school, you do have to have a physical on file. Last year, they kind of waived that because of COVID. They are not waiving it this year. So unless you have had a physical since April 1st, last year's is not going to count. But if you got one maybe late last year in the spring, we will accept that. I had my coaches meeting today with all my fall coaches, so they're well aware to make sure that they're checking their estimated roster to make sure all the paperwork's turned in. If you have any questions, feel free to stay after this meeting. I'll be out in the hallway and you can ask me those questions. Athletic eligibility, you must be passing 5 classes, so we have 7 during the school day. So if you're taking a study hall, that could get you in a little bit of jeopardy. Most of the time, freshmen aren't taking a lot of study halls in their freshman year, but as they move on, they potentially can. When you start getting to AP dual credit classes and IB classes, it gets much more difficult. So sometimes kids do take those study halls, but that can kind of put you in a little bit of jeopardy. And we had a lot of issues last year just because virtual was difficult on some kids. Fortunately, we're back to the normal schedule, so I don't see any issues this year. Athletic code of conduct, we do expect our athletes when they're out there on the field or even in the restaurant, maybe after a game. You are representing Floyd Central, so you do have a higher standard of expectation as far as your behavior. I don't want to be getting those phone calls. And in my 10 years here, this is the 10th year back, haven't had very many issues at all, so we do have fantastic coaches and kids and parents. You guys treat them and teach them the right way, so we appreciate that. But we do have one, and there are consequences because kids do make mistakes. When that happens, we'll be contacting you and discussing that with you, but just be aware we do have a code of conduct. Transfers, that really should not affect you guys since you're freshmen. However, let's say you change your mind after 15 days and some of you may be here from New Albany or North Harrison. You decided to come to a larger school because we have more academic offerings. If that's the case and you do go back to your home school, there will be some transfer paperwork. It's real easy to fill out. They will be eligible. It's not a big deal. But if you have any questions about that down the road, please don't hesitate to ask me. NCAA requirements. This is real important. Some of you may understand what we're talking about, but you have to have certain grades and certain classes completed before you go on to college. We had one of our stud athletes last year, Zen on the football team, went to Ohio State. But prior to him going to Ohio State, he was short a couple credits. So make sure that if you are considering going on to play college sports, even if you're not sure, it doesn't hurt to go ahead and get with your counselor and make sure that when you're setting up your meetings every year, that you're taking the classes that you need to be eligible once you graduate and move on to college, okay? I shouldn't say he didn't have enough credits. He had plenty of credits. He just didn't have the credits in the right areas, okay? So it's real important that you get with your counselor if you are considering that. Rules and policies. I guess, I don't know anything about this. I'm going to pass that on to... Just do your best. Dr. Velker.
Thank you. Yeah, I get to come in for the kind of the bummer, rules and policies. I have said this before. Contrary to what your children will tell you over the next 5 years, I do have friends. I do get invited places with my friends, and I get to do things. So they may tell you differently, but that is not true. A safe school is dependent on the relationship between the staff and the students. We feel we have a very good relationship. We want all our kids to have a trusted adult in the building. And you can never predict who that trusted adult is going to be. But that is our goal. And that's one of the things we tell our teachers. All right, try to make connections with kids. Because we want those students, if they see something, we expect them to report it. All right? We want them to feel comfortable with somebody at school that they can go to and confide in whatever. Be it a discipline issue, something they see, or problems that they're having with classes or whatever. Things to know, all right? Transportation. So we drop off at buses drop off at door 1, and they'll come in right by the spine. So they'll go in where it says do not enter. Car riders get dropped off. You go back down the football field, and then we route you like you're at Kings Island, and you go through the cones, and then you come up and you will drop off at, I still call it the Galena end of the building, all right, at the FC2 end of the building. If you need a bus route information, all right, you can go there. And like I said, Dr. Women's going to send this out to you, so you'll be able to do that. Please do not drop off in the student lot. We've had accidents in the student lot with people that shouldn't be in the student lot. So please do not drop your child off in the student lot. We do start early, all right? Our school day does start early at 7:40. I kind of tease the freshmen. They're not on country club schedule anymore, where they get to start at 9 and wake up at 8:15. All right, our school starts at 7:40. All right, the warning bell's at 7:35. They need to plan on being here at least by 7:20. Then if you're 5 minutes late, you're fine. So they shouldn't be trying to get here at 7:39 and get to the other end of the building. Our doors do open at 6 a.m. That happened when the Sherman-Minton Bridge had its issues years and years and years ago, and we've kept it that way. We haven't had any issues. So we will have students here at 7. They can gather in the spine area, the big hallway. They can go to the cafeteria. Breakfast is going to be free. All right? Lunch is going to be free. Students at lunch will eat 4th period. We are going to be on the same type of lunch schedule that we ended the year with, which means they will either go to lunch and then 4th period, or they go to 4th period and then go to lunch. They will have an assigned seating area. So all of the students should be in this area. Next class should be over here, and they'll be escorted there. But they will have freedom. They'll be able to go to the restroom. They'll be able to, they're allowed to go throw their trash away, things that are a little different than in middle school. All right? Cell phones, kids can use their cell phones. High school is a little different. They can use their cell phones at lunch. They can use their cell phones during a passing period. They can have it out. We get a lot, especially in the spring with weather, of baseball practice, or my game is canceled, now I have practice after school. well, you want to be contacted with that right away, especially when they're not driving. All right, we don't expect it out during class time, but they can have it out during passing period because they'll get those things out to the kids during the day by mass email. Calling in an absence. You will call Mrs. Crane at the attendance hotline. If your student is not in school, you'll get an automated call that goes out in the area of 11:30. This is a big one. If a student becomes sick during a school day, please go through the health office to check out. Because we'll have a parent show up to pick somebody, a student up, and we didn't know that the student was sick. We didn't know there was a problem with the student. Or, we've had this happen, the student goes home with the parent and doesn't check out of the office at all, and now we think the student is truant, that they're out and about. So if they go through the health office, all right, Ms. Eldridge will talk to the student and then call you and dismiss through the health office. That's our expectation. School discipline, we expect all these things to be addressed during school, all right? Discipline is always situational, I will tell you that, but any profanity, we do enforce the tardy policy. They'll have 2 grace tardies to school, 2 grace tardies to every period, each quarter where there's no consequences, and then detentions go from there. We don't expect any hats in the building, appropriate dress. There'll be no sleeping in class. There'll be no phones out during class time as well. If that happens, teacher confiscates it. It goes to me and we give it back to the student at the end of the school day. All right, they will get it the rest of the school day. So we don't expect those out during instructional time. Okay? All right, I already said the students will eat either before or after, sometime during their 4th period class. Breakfast and lunch, again, they're free this year. Take advantage of it. Extras do cost, so if you want a second entree or you want to buy a bag of chips or whatever, you do that. But you still can do your put money in your child's account through My Payment Plus for those extras. All right, but your standard lunch and your standard breakfast are free again this year, so we're lucky with that. I already told you about cell phones. And then the other thing is cell phones tend to have a video option on them. Most of the time when kids are videoing other kids, it is at the other kid's worst moment of high school. An embarrassing thing. If that gets out, that happens, that's a suspendable offense. Then you're putting it where I'm in the office having to make a decision on what we're going to do with you. All right, so we do not expect them using the camera function of that phone at all. It's one thing when they're at the football game dressed up face paint and they want to take a picture. I don't care. All right, but if they're doing something to make fun of or belittle another student, we have a problem. So, and then like I said, the cell phone can be confiscated. All right, give it back to them at the end of the school day. Okay? Academic integrity policy, that's there. You can read through that later. Biggest thing is do your own work. Don't help somebody else do work that they didn't do themselves. And we'll go through some scenarios with the kids in the first couple weeks of school. For you guys, it'd be science classes of, okay, this is when it's okay to collaborate. This is a situation where it's not okay to collaborate with another student. So that is the thing. Do your own work. Don't help somebody else not do their work. I put this out there just because you can look it up later. Picture Day will be the 2nd Thursday on August 12th. Freshmen will go during their science class to get their picture taken, and there is the code. That'll be sent out to you. If you want to order, you can go to interstate.com/order, and you can do that there. So, like I said, I put that out there because I knew it would be forwarded to you if you want to do that. Dr. Wim will send some emails with Picture Day, but we do it that very early, and then we don't have a large number of kids that use Makeup Day, but we'll have a Makeup Day in September. I forget that date off the top of my head. Okay? And now we have some parting thoughts, so you get to hear from Dr. Wellman again.
Okay, and on those emails, I know they mentioned that several times. I will try not to bombard you with emails. So I'm going to send one out no more than probably once a week. If I send one out more than once a week, then there's something big happening and I feel like I need to beat you over the head with some type of information. So I won't try to fill up your inbox. But hopefully, I really like my team, my admin team here. I think we work really well together. So, of course, follow the advice of the types of things that they suggest doing. But a couple of things here. I want to sort of dispel a couple of things, and I do this in orientation. When your student's going to come in here for the freshman class, I believe we have ours next Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, and we'll tell them two things. You got this myth that high school is the best time of your life, okay? And many of you guys are out there and you're like, man, I'm sure I'm glad it wasn't, okay? Because that was an awful experience, okay? Because there will be times where high school is not so fun. Okay? Now, I don't want to say that, be prepared for the worst. That's not what I'm saying at all. But there are better times ahead. There are different experiences ahead and all of that stuff. We want to make high school memorable. We want to make it pleasant. We want to make it worthwhile. All of those things, but I want to build it up like it is going to be the best time of your life and it's just downhill the rest of the way. Because that's not the case at all. Okay? The other thing is, college is not for everyone. Once I said, that's a myth. Okay? College is not for everyone. Now, I also want to say that not everybody needs to go to college. Okay? Not everybody needs to go to college. Some of the movers and shakers in our community, the people that really have an impact, never went to college. They went to Prosser, they did other things, and they made an impact a different way. But my point is this: if you want to go to college, there's a college out there for you. You might have to travel a little bit, you might have to spend some money, it might not be free, might not be easy, but there is one for you. Okay? That is a myth that college is not for everyone. It is for everyone if you want to go. There are ways to do that. Okay? And the other thing is this: you as parents, and I'm speaking from experience, and I'm going to go against my father's advice, and he said, Rob, don't ever give parenting advice until all of your kids are at least 50 years old. Okay, and that's probably pretty good advice, but here's what I want to say, is that we as a parent, we make out that 4-year plan, and we have a mental model of what high school is going to look like in our head. We already have it pre-planned there. Okay? I'm going to tell you, that's going to change. There's going to be something that's going to come along. There's going to be something that happens, whether it be a roadblock or another opportunity. Be open to those other opportunities. Be open to that, because you're going to find yourself, and sometimes your kid's going to say, hey, Dad, what about this over here? I'm kind of interested in that. You're going to say, no, stick with the plan. Okay? And that you'll be tempted to do that. You might not. But be open to that, because here there are lots and lots of opportunities. That plan B, C, D, and E might be a really, really good plan. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and I want to thank you guys for coming. Okay, we appreciate your kind attention. We got you out here, man, 45 minutes. That's just perfect. My team and I will be around for you guys if you have any specific questions. Thank you. I hope you look forward to the first day, and I hope they're happy to be a Highlander.